Hi, I'm Miss Nikki, the children's librarian from the Fitchburg Public Library.
And hi, I'm Laura Howick, Director of Education at the Fitchburg Art Museum. Hi, Miss Nikki.
Hi, Miss Laura, and welcome to our special story time with the Fitchburg Art Museum. Today I'm going to read you two stories that take place in a museum. Our first story is going to be Dorothy Parker Looks Up, an extraordinary moment by Parker and Jessica Curry. Parker Curry's first visit to the National Portrait Gallery in Washington, D.C. becomes life-changing when she looks up and sees the portrait of First Lady Michelle Obama. She sees more than a First Lady. She sees a queen, one with dynamic self-assurance, regality, beauty, and truth. My second story is Dr. Seuss's Horse Museum. Based on a manuscript and sketches discovered in 2013, this book explores how different artists have seen horses. As readers learn about the creative process, they are encouraged to look at horses and really everything else around as inspiration to create their own masterpieces.
And I'm going to show you different kinds of art from the Fitchburg Art Museum, like the types of art you'll learn about in the Horse Museum story. And I'll suggest many ways that art might inspire you, just like Parker. So please sit back and enjoy our special story time at the museum.
Parker Looks Up, an Extraordinary Moment by Parker and Jessica Curry. Parker Curry loved to dance. Dressed in her favorite tutu, she imagined she was a dancing queen. But one rainy Tuesday, instead of going to dance class, Parker's mom said, "Let's go to the museum." Ava, too. Parker loved visiting the museum, almost as much as she loved twirling and leaping in the air. She pulled on her boots. Mom and her sister Ava buttoned up their jackets. "Have fun, girls. Bye, Dad." And off they went, splashing and smiling and... Surprise! Gia, Parker's best friend, greeted them from the top of the museum steps. "Yay, it's Gia!" Once inside, the friends hurried down a long hall, looking at the paintings all around them. They saw prancing horses, blooming flowers, a bushy mustache, a shiny jeweled necklace, two peacocks with red eyes, and a basket of slimy fish. Ew! And feathers. Hurry up, Ava. Lots and lots of brilliant feathers. When Gia spotted a playroom, she raced ahead. Parker charged after her. "Let's make silly faces." After Gia stuck purple hair onto the easel and Parker added a pirate hat and sunglasses, it was time to go home. "Time to go, girls." Skipping down the hall, the girls spied a row of frilly white tutus. Parker raised her arms. Gia spun around and around and around. "Wait for me," Parker called, dancing after her friend, until she froze in her tracks, spellbound. Parker Curry looked up. A portrait of First Lady Michelle Obama loomed before her. She had rich brown skin, just like Parker, and kind, familiar eyes that reminded Parker of her mother, her grandmother, her sister, and yes, even of herself. How could someone look so real and so magical all at the same time? Who is she? Parker's mother's voice filled the air, her words coming to rest squarely on Parker's tiny shoulders. Mother, lawyer, writer, courageous, smart, caring, inspirational, hero, confident, dynamic, friend, sister, advocate, honest, volunteer, mentor, hopeful. "She is a queen," Parker whispered, unable to look away, to move, to breathe. In that moment, Parker saw more than just a portrait. She saw a road before her, with endless possibilities. Suddenly, Parker felt a small hand in hers, and the spell was broken. "Come look, Ava," she said, putting her arm around her little sister and standing tall. For Parker Curry was feeling powerful and strong, and even though she hadn't moved, inside she was dancing. The end. Dr. Seuss's Horse Museum. Illustrated by Andrew Joyner and read to you by Miss Nikki. Art. What is it all about? This is what art is about. Art is when an artist looks at something, like a horse for instance, and they see something in that horse that excites them, so they do something about it. They tell you about it, in any one of a number of ways. Artists have been excited by horses for as long as there have been artists. But what an artist tells us about horses and how they tell us is different for every artist. What an artist sees in a horse depends on many different things: their background, likes and dislikes, you name it. So come with me. Let's look at how different artists have seen horses. Maybe we can find some new ways of looking at them ourselves. Look it over, think it over, talk it over. When most people look at me, they just see me like this. But when an artist looks at me, they see a million other things. Can you? Some artists look at a horse and see its outlines. To other artists, like this Chinese sculptor, a horse is not an outline at all. A horse is a bulk, a solid form. A Japanese artist looked at a horse. What he saw was beautiful lines from head to tail. Some artists look at a horse and find color. Other artists are interested in shape. This artist looked at a horse and saw strength. These artists looked and they saw speed. A Spaniard named Velázquez painted horses by the dozens. He saw them as something for kings and princes to sit on while he painted them. Velázquez worked for the kings and princes. He never got any money from the horses. This painting is by a Frenchman named Meissonnet. Horses to him were something necessary to carry generals into battle. He loved to paint generals going into battle. To him, the horse was a jeep in the days before the jeep was invented. On the rock walls of a cave in France, nearly 22,000 years ago, someone painted this horse by the light of a fire. What did the cave artist see in the horse? We don't know. It's a mystery. What do you think? 2,000 years ago in Greece, artists looked at horses and imagined them with wings. Pegasus was an immortal flying horse in Greek mythology. Greek artists painted horses with wings as symbols for ideas, like immortality, that are hard to show in a picture. 500 years ago in Persia, people thought a horse was for having fun on. That's what the Persian artists saw when they looked at horses. 500 years ago in Italy, the artist Raphael looked at a horse. He thought that a horse was for fighting dragons on. Of course, some artists looked at horses and wanted to paint them just as they appeared in the natural world, doing things that horses really do. We call this kind of art realistic. Other artists looked at horses and tried to capture them in a moment of time. We call this style of art Impressionism. Impressionist art often has a soft, slightly out of focus appearance. Then we come to what people call modern art. Some people call this crazy stuff. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. But these are paintings, drawings, and sculptures that show what certain artists imagine when they look at a horse. So please look at them very carefully. There are lots of ways of looking at things. Maybe these pictures have something to tell you. Surrealism is a way of looking at things, including horses, that draws on, in part, an artist's dreams. Dreams can be very strange, and so can surrealist art. Expressionism is an art style that uses exaggerated colors and brushstrokes to show the emotion an artist wants to feel when we look at something. What do you feel when you look at this? Cubism is a way of looking at things from different angles all at the same time. Cubists don't want to copy things the way they normally look. A famous artist named Picasso liked horses. He liked bulls too. He drew a lot of them. Abstract art can have a subject, but it doesn't need one. It uses color and shape to create a visual experience. These abstract images do have subjects. Horses and riders, of course. This artist used just a few lines and splotches of color in this woodcut. But when you look at it, you can see a galloping horse and rider, right? What do you see when you look at branches and driftwood? The artist who made this sculpture saw a horse. This abstract drawing in space shows what looks like a big, strong horse, but you wouldn't want to sit on its back. All it is made out of is thin steel wire. Ouch! An American painter named Jackson Pollock found a hobby horse head and glued it onto a canvas before doing this abstract drip painting. Pollock dripped, splattered, and flung paint as a way to insert himself into his paintings. Maybe this is Pollock on a horse. So what do you think? Is this stuff crazy, or is it crazy good? Looking at art and thinking about it is fun. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Museums are good places to find art. You can find art in other places too. One such place to look is in books. The horses shown below and to the right are from books illustrated by a man who never studied drawing. His name was Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss didn't write horses, but he looked at them carefully and saw something in them. Can you guess what that something was? So look at that horse once again. A horse is many, many, many things, all depending on what you see. The end. To find out more about the artist and the works included in this story, be sure to check out Dr. Seuss's Horse Museum from the Fitchburg Public Library. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Hello, everyone. I'm Laura from the Fitchburg Art Museum in Fitchburg, Massachusetts. The museum was started in 1925 because of an artist named Eleanor Norcross, who was from Fitchburg. The wonderful stories you just heard are a great introduction to the many ways art can look and make you think or feel. Seeing this portrait inspired Parker to imagine all of the things she could do in her life. It also inspired Parker to feel proud and strong. She was even inspired to share that feeling with her little sister. You can also visit an art museum and find inspiration. The Fitchburg Art Museum is in downtown Fitchburg, not far from the public library and the post office, and everyone is welcome to visit. When you visit, you'll see big rooms called galleries and many different kinds of art, like paintings and sculpture, and in many different styles, from abstract to realistic, just like in the Horse Museum. When you look at the artworks, you might feel inspired to imagine life a long, long time ago when people wrote with pictures instead of words. Or imagine living in a different place with different customs. Or imagine what it might be like to be someone else. You might also feel inspired to play or spend time in nature. Or Move your body, even dance like Parker did. You might even be inspired to express what is special about you by making art with paint or clay or photography or with things that are usually thrown out. Look closely. Do you see the toothbrushes? How about now? I bet you can see them now. You might even create art out of ordinary things like folded paper, wooden sticks, plastic tubes, tape, little blocks, and so much more. Just use your imagination. So let's find some inspiration right now. Make a picture frame with your fingers like this. Hold your finger frame up in front of one of these artworks. How does it inspire you? Maybe you feel an emotion like excitement or sadness or curiosity. Or maybe you feel like doing something. There, that's inspiration. Thank you for listening and looking. I hope you'll visit the Fitchburg Art Museum soon. When you do, you'll see different awesome artworks from the ones in this video. We change them throughout the year, so there will always be new things to see and inspire you.